a great community. I mean, we were showed pictures. We were showed you're going to have this great pool. You're going to have all these green spaces and kids places and all of these great things, and they've never happened. And from what I can tell, they're never going to happen. A little bit of background about the people who own this place. If you don't know, this started out with a guy named Mike Zipprich. Mike Zipprich, although he doesn't have a felony conviction, has been barred by the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, for fraud. He was taking money. He had properties in Arizona, properties here, Louisiana, Florida, had big loans. He took that money, he took about half of that big loans and put it into a private drug treatment program. It's called America's Rehab. They had all kinds of commercials back in the day on TV, if y'all wanted to know about it. SEC gets after him. One of the people that he had doing his development in Arizona was a company called Global Water Resources. Global Water Resources was owned by a man named Trevor Hill. That ought to sound familiar to everybody out here. Trevor Hill was that. They operated in Arizona. They got themselves in trouble in Arizona. A group of individuals come in and bought Global Water Resources and made Trevor Hill, who was already a millionaire, a multimillionaire. By doing that, Trevor Hill wants to make some more money. He finds out Zipprich has property in Midland, Texas, Midland County. He owns Cheney Ranch down the street down here. He owned the property here. He bought it from the Hembrys over here. There's Hembry's father. It's King 261. He also owned property across the 307 where Pecan Grove is now. And he had other properties out here somewhere. I don't know where they're at. Trevor Hill bought all of those. When he bought them, he comes in and says, we're going to do this development. They put out the big flyers, and we all got sold on it. He's a fraud. I mean, flat out, I'm going to tell you to this day, you know he's lying because he opens his mouth. That's the bottom line. Whenever they bought this place out here, this is just trash, but I don't want to throw it on the ground. And started Vander Ranch. They put in HOA, they put in, we're going to build this, we're going to build this. They went to the county and got a plat to build it all out here. County signs off on it. Since that time, county has just signed off on a plat over here to build 150 homes right here, all rental homes. We found out that the HOA, they weren't doing anything out here. They weren't taking over, they weren't building, they were letting trash and everything build up. And after I move in, we find out they're in forfeiture because he wasn't paying his taxes. We go to try to take the HOA. At that point, they immediately go back into existence. When they did that, they changed the covenants out here. The covenants did not allow for any rental property out here for the first year any home was built. They did away with that covenant. They also didn't allow that you to build houses less than 1,850 square feet. They did away with that covenant. Also didn't allow for you to build houses of one story of less than 100% brick. They did away with that covenant. All of those things have resulted, and I don't have anything against the people that rent the houses. You didn't do anything, but you've been suckered into this too, because I'm going to tell you how in just a minute. You've got an opportunity to get out if you live over there. Now, my lease was up. I would get the hell out of here, but that's up to y'all. But whenever they built these things, because they don't match, and they started off with these right here. These are actually D.R. Horton homes, and they built these. They didn't get permission to build, not have 100% brick. These houses weren't built to covenants of the HOA. But anyway, the rentals, what are they? Maybe 10% brick, 15, something like that. But they let everything go out here. They've decreased the value of our homes. My house appraised at almost $500,000 almost 2 years ago. My house now appraises for less than $410,000. I've lost $90,000 in my house. Other people can tell you the same thing. Might as well lose it all. My house has been for sale for almost 6 months and I've had 5 showings. So, I mean, we can't sell our houses, so we got to do something else. And that's what we're standing up here doing. We started 2 years ago. People who lived here any time that lived out here know that 2 years ago there was a sewer down here at the backside of the property out here on the, what is it, 1120? Not 1101? 1104. The sewer plant down here, down the road, quit operating, and their response, instead of bringing in vacuum trucks to suck out the sewer, to suck out the solids, was to open the main. And they drained sewer behind the houses down here. They drained that sewer, we know, for 3 weeks. They actually drained the sewer for over 3 months. They were supposed to clean it up. They got issues that they had to clean it up. They got hit with all kinds of violations. We reported TCEQ. They came in, they didn't clean it up, they buried it. So it's just buried sewer down here, if anybody wants to know.
And so if you need to expand on that, if you are not living in Vander Ranch, do not think that this does not affect you.
Yeah, we're fixing to.
It affects your water table. Everyone in Greenwood and Midland County that is receiving this water is guaranteed to be receiving tainted water.
Now then, within the last 2 weeks, we've learned from a former manager of the water department out here. I had been checking for the longest time on the water treatment plant because everybody's complaining of getting bleached clothes. I get holes in my clothes. I got physically sick one day because of drinking out of the water hose, and we'll explain that. Kids are getting rashes from chemical burns, from too much chlorine in the water. Other people are getting sick like me. People are having their hair fall out, and the only thing that's connecting them together is the water. I mean, you know, we're not eating after each other. We don't know each other to be able to do that kind of stuff. We're not around each other. The only thing that connects you is the water.
Rick, can we ask just a poll by a raise of hands who's all experienced that?
Sure. I mean,
Bleached clothes, rashes,
rashes,
hair falling out. Ladies, men, all alike. If your hair is falling out, that's because the chloride that they're trying to put in the water they're trying to over-chlorinate the water to treat it. It's jacking with your thyroid. It is a thyroid issue. That is why your hair is falling out. We've had several men who have come forward and said their hair is falling out, which is not an absolute. Usually women are the shedders, but that's not an absolute norm for men. And this just tells us the taxing effects that you don't even see that are happening to your thyroids.
Anyway, we brought all of this stuff. We've been trying to bring it to attention, trying to get TCQ. We tried to stay quiet. I mean, at the beginning, we were very loud. And then we thought, well, we'll be quiet and see what can happen. Nothing happened. We couldn't get that way. So we've done some other things instead. Let's talk about, anybody showed up that's actually from Greenwood? No, still no for? Let's talk about the plant that they built, the water treatment plant. The water treatment plant was not engineered to be built. They don't have a permit to operate it, but it's what's providing all of us water. That plant was built for a certain number of houses, which would have included about 500 homes. They've now added close to, I imagine we're somewhere around 2,000 to 2,500 homes. That's why we're running out of water. It's not because the wells are going dry, although that is happening. It's because they don't have enough storage down here to store water in to supply the water during the day. And if they had enough storage, we wouldn't be losing our water, is what's going on there. Talk about the plant they built. It's an RO plant. I think everybody knows what their RO system. RO system puts out, for every 4 gallons of water it takes in, only 1 gallon of water is all you get to drink out of or use for your house. The other 3 gallons is wastewater. And that has to be disposed of properly. Most of the time you see it, they'll put in an evaporation plant, they'll dig a big ditch in the ground, and they'll go get liner and line it so it doesn't get in the ground. They didn't do that. They just dug a big ditch, and this water, which is high in arsenic, high in heavy metals, is seeping into the water table. And anybody, yeah, and it's been confirmed. It's seeping in the water tables. They're telling people who own any homes around that water plant off of here on 1120, they need to start testing their water wells because they're going to get to the point they can't use them. And it's not because they're out of water. But at the same time, we got to be concerned because that same water table is where they're pulling water for us.
Now, a lot of people have had concerns of why is this whistleblower coming forward? Like, what stakes do they have in the game? Let me tell you, what has been done is a felony.
Mm-hmm.
It is criminal activity. They will go to jail for a very long time. However, they're protected if they come forward and they speak the truth as a whistleblower. There's a protection of any legal ramifications being put on them. So that is one reason that our whistleblower has been very open and said, here, I'm laying it all out. What we did was wrong. Everything we did, here it is. This is where it was. I can testify to these things. And I don't know if you guys heard Nino's broadcast with him, but it is absolutely deeper than we ever thought, and it is incredibly disturbing.
He said he couldn't even live with himself if he kept working there.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is why he switched jobs. I cannot imagine going to work knowing that I'm poisoning people, a community, not just a set group of people.
That's why, if y'all saw today, I posted on the Grapevine, and I posted on the Grapevine. I don't normally post a whole lot of stuff, especially on the Grapevine. I will post for here, different things. But I posted that, hoping that people from Greenwood would show up so they could hear it, because I don't think they know it. And going back to the water, that's mine, I got it. To operate, they have to get what's called a CCN. It's tell me what convenience. Basically, it's just saying we can operate. They can operate within a certain area. They have a CCN to operate within Vander Ranch, and they also have from Greenwood Water have a CCN to operate in the homes behind the high school in that area over there. They don't have a CCN to provide any kind of service to Pecan Grove over here where we're providing water and we're also getting their sewer that's coming to our sewer plant.
It's a certificate of convenience and
Yeah.
necessity.
They don't have a CCN to provide water to Greenwood Country Estates. And if anybody saw where Fred Franklin was bad-mouthing everybody about and talking great about Park Water, he builds in Greenwood Country Estates. And he had them come in and build service into the houses he was building while he's there. 2 years ago, I asked Fred Franklin why he wasn't building out here. And Fred Franklin told me, quote, Trevor Hill's a crook, I wouldn't do any business with him. But now he's not. And so I'm going to go the other direction in what I think about Fred Franklin. May build a great house, but he don't tell the truth. If the sewer plant, whenever they investigated it, the sewer plant was built to provide services to about 150 homes. That was the initial build right in here in Vander Ranch. It has never been expanded. They brought in some frack tanks down the road, and they're holding sludge, shit, in those frack tanks, and occasionally calling in a vacuum truck to come get it and haul it off. I've got other ideas of what they're doing with it. I can't prove it, so I'll leave that alone. But we have a group that they have committed felony offenses. We've reported it to the district attorney's office or to the environmental department, who's reported to the district attorney's office. And what happened to those charges, we don't know. I don't have any idea. But since then, we have new felony charges that the environmental department, I will say, the environmental department is interested in. I don't know if they're going to investigate it or don't investigate it, but they do know about it. Hopefully they find out. We're dealing with the potential of losing our sewer service and losing our water service out here if we don't do something. If you can't hear me, stick your hand up.
Am I the only deaf one in the group?
Okay.
Now that's my talk.
I'll talk louder. I told you I can yell if I need to.
Let it rip.
Go ahead, Stacy.
Is all this happening because TCEQ knows if they bring forth those violations, they will eventually have to take over?
I talked to Ryan Slocum, who is the regional director of TCEQ, and I also talked to his supervisor, who I don't remember what her title is, today. They actually called me today. I'm going to say that the only reason they called me is because we got enough word out there that they're a little bit scared.
Yeah.
All right. Every violation that everybody has put in and made, they have actually investigated it. And they have made a referral to Austin. And it has gone to Austin and died. The plan itself down here is supposed to be in a, what do you call it, enforcement action. Their enforcement action that they decided in Austin, Texas, was to fine them $12,000.
It was actually a little higher than that. It was 16,000. But
And
remember,
they
because
reduced
they
it.
got deferred, which means they don't pay it all at once. They pay it out. They reduced it to the 12,000.
And then
Let
get,
that make sense.
and then give them 3 years to pay it on top of that. I mean, they're within that enforcement action, they're to get a permit to increase the size. It's not in the enforcement action that they have to increase the size. So it's still doesn't provide sewer service for 150 people. And at that point in time, it was operating at like 90% capacity. We've now provided all the homes they've built here, plus Pecan Grove going in here. So it's operating probably at 300 to 400% over capacity right now. It's destined to fail. Here a while back, we tested the water in the pond that they claim down here is a reclaimed water pond from the sewer. They're wanting to say that what they're doing is treating this water and making it type 1 water. Type 1 water you can actually drink. You don't want to because you know where it came from, but you can actually drink it. That's not what they're producing. They're producing what's known as type 2 water. Type 2 water can be used in irrigation on crops, as long as it's not a crop like a watermelon or a cantaloupe or something that's on the outside. You can use it for irrigating hay or something to that effect. This water down here tested high in arsenic, and we got kids playing around there. It tested high in heavy metals. That's your lead, your iron, barium, all of those, it tests high.
And that's the one that was 3 times the legal limit for chloride.
Yeah.
The chloride is the chlorine. 3 times the legal limit. That chlorine dissipates and goes in the environment. It's very deadly. It's a neurotoxin to you. Yeah, you had E. coli, which is E. coliform. It's a type of bacteria, and then you also had coliform, which is a type of bacteria. Also, what I found very interesting about that is they did the total dissolved solids, and the total dissolved solids should be 0.001, somewhere in that. It was solid 1. It was a solid 1. And I asked the lady at Martin Labs, I said, okay, so tell me exactly, what do you think about that? She said, literally, you go to the bathroom, you take everything out of your toilet, you put it in a blender, turn it on, and then pour it into your bathtub. Now go take a bath in it. That's what's there. It's just liquefied. That is your toilet paper, that is your feces, that is your urine. It's just liquefied.
So how is that making that into that pond?
They have a line that runs from the sewer plant into the pond. Okay? It was buried back in the day.
Yeah.
Is that illegal? Is that legal?
It's not permitted.
It's not permitted.
No.
And
That's
this was
what's
our,
being pumped up here, what your kids are walking through
Right.
to the bus.
Right.
So keep that in mind. That's not just what's out there.
Yeah.
According to the TCEQ, it's supposed to be 75 foot from anybody's property line if it's type 1.
Right.
If it's type 2, it has to be 150 foot. I challenged that with TCEQ, and they just basically told me it's far enough, but they would not state that what the findings was, even though I told them that was their own regulation.
And it's not far enough.
Yeah.
No.
And then they charge us extra to have a view of that pond.
Does anybody live on that pond? Do you live on that pond? So you live on that pond. You've actually paid
Shit water evermore.
more. And the stench is so. And I'm going to tell you guys, coming as a carpetbagger here, an outsider. I mean, I'm in the city. So when we come to Greenwood, you know, you would pass by 307 and you'd smell the sewer plant. You would be like, "Woo, things are ripe today." Like you just knew it, right? But people that live around there, they get used to it, right? That they get acclimated to that smell. And when Rick and I went out and took soil samples out in the pit that they were putting it in, my daughter and myself got out of the car and we were like, "Oh, it stinks." And he was like, "Oh, it's a little ranch." We stuck the shovel in, and the minute we moved dirt, and we're talking, Rick, how far down were we?
Less than a foot.
Less than a foot. We moved that, and I was like, doing everything to keep it down. And my daughter was like, "Oh my gosh." We take it to some of your residents, and they were like, "Does it smell that bad?" And I'm like, "Can you not like, I smell like I smell it. Like it's on me. It's permeated my skin, every porous in my body." But you've been out here and you've gotten acclimated to it, and that's not okay. And that's how they're going to try to keep you deaf, dumb, blind, and stupid.
Within that pond, they're also mixing it with a well on Cheney Ranch. It's piped over here, and they're mixing it up. That well at Cheney Ranch has arsenic levels at level 5 times the allowable rate for arsenic in the water, and they're putting it in this water down here. So it's high levels of arsenic down there. We've got kids running around down there. It scares the shit out of me.
Hey, I see kids swimming there.
Yeah, I've seen kids.
yeah.
I mean, it really scares the crap out of me. And these guys don't care. I mean, they flat don't care.
Is there a long-term effects?
Well, arsenic, it'll kill you.
I mean,
Liver toxins.
I heard on the radio today that everything's okay in Vander Ranch. That's what I heard from Terry Johnson. So
We'll get to Terry.
I'm
here
just
in a
surprised
minute.
over here.
We're not on Terry yet. We'll get there.
Can't wait.
All right. Anyway, they're piping it in. They're using it for irrigation. All this green space down through here where the kids gather for school bus and stuff, they're irrigating that with the water from that pond. So anybody who sends their kids up here and they're waiting for the bus and all that kind of stuff, you got to be concerned. And they're exposing your children to this stuff, and they don't give a fuck. I mean, I hate cussing, but I'm mad. They don't care. They don't care if your kids die. Because it's all about money.
We stopped a group of 4 or 5 kids that were playing in this little ravine right here, and you know they're over there playing with the.
And they ought to be.
there's
They're
little
just
bitty
kids.
signs that say they're purple and they're about this big, and they say not to touch the water. If you touch the water, you need to wash your hands. It says, you know, do not drink the water. Do not drink or put your hands. Like, why would you have that? If this was a safe irrigation,
Right.
it's because it's pure sewage. And you know, these kids had no clue. One of the sisters drove up to pick them up, pick one of the boys up, and I asked her, I said, "Do you know what is in this soil out here? What your brothers and your neighborhood friends are playing in?" Had no clue. They live in a rental community back there. They had absolutely zero clue. That is not okay. It is our job to keep them safe. We are the adults. And when the adults fail us, we need to become mama and papa bears like we are. We need to get.
We're working on it. Yeah. I'm going to try to get
I'm
there.
glad you asked for a solution. There is Kyle. Kyle, are you here? You want to come on over?
You want to talk now or you want to talk in a minute? Let me just say one thing. How many people live in the rentals back here? Anybody else? Y'all's rentals, the backyard of y'all's rentals is watered with this water.
Oh yeah. So
It's watered with this water.
Who here
So
does not
anybody
have
who has
control of their
kids that they
irrigation?
go in the backyard to play on the grass, you're doing that is
you have no control over your irrigation, correct? So your irrigation goes off whether you want it to or not, right?
Do y'all have a backflow line at your home?
Clean out line?
No.
Gosh dang.
Were y'all told not to use that water at the house? I saw someone posted about a dog not to,
Yeah, if your dog's in the backyard, they're getting exposed to it.
And they're taking it in the house when they go inside.
Yeah, and that's something I was explaining to the kids. They're out here running and playing, and they're being kids, and I'm glad that they're outside. But this is a very scary community for those kids to be outside, because what do when they come in? They walk inside and they have their shoes on. You think they didn't just transfer all that into your house? And then what if you have a baby that's toddling around, crawling on their belly, learning to walk? What if your kids take their shoes off and you're walking? You're literally exposing yourself to this day in and day out. 90% of you are cleaning with the water on your floors. You have no clue what was in it. It's not your fault. So you have to say, where's the blame lie? A lot of people go, where's all the solutions? You know, give me a solution. Give me a solution. I made a post about Vander Ranch, and I woke up one morning and it dawned on me. AI knows a lot of things. AI goes through and it searches everything. It has to have a lot of data points. That's how AI works. AI can be good and it can be evil. So I went to Gemini, which is a Google AI, and I asked Gemini, what can you tell me about the water situation, not crisis, I'm not giving any red flags, in Vander Ranch, Midland County, Texas. It immediately popped up. It was giving me all the problems you guys have. The constant shutoffs of your water, the quality of your water, the raw sewage being dumped. There's been multiple outlets that this has been reported at. Multiple entities have reported on this. And not one time have we had anybody from the county come and assist here. Problem is, we've got some finger pointing, but right now, we're gonna band together and we're gonna get some solutions. And what are some of the solutions? Kyle emailed me. And he goes, I thought I'd take a spin on it and say, what solutions, AI? Even AI has a solution for your problems. Investigate and enforce water quality standards. That's TCEQ. They need to be investigated. What they're doing is wrong. They're not following through with procedures that they have put in place that they did in Stan, what year? 1980, 1992, 94? When they went to, that's our tax dollars at work or not at work. Address billing disputes. There's been public hearings that need to be held to review the Park Water's proposed rate increases. I wouldn't be paying a single dime for this water. Secure funding and infrastructure. Allocate funds from Texas' $1 billion water project investment. That was approved in November of 2023. Are you not a Texan? You are. Are you receiving water in Texas? You are. Why can you not have a part of that money? Why can Greenwood not get part of that money allocated?
I know.
Why, Stacy?
Because the crooked politicians are putting it in their pocket.
Because somebody else is pocketing it. Somebody else is taking that.
Exactly.
We're getting we've got a good old boy system in place right now, and good old boy system hires their good old boy to do a job. It's a shoddy job. Unfortunately, good old boy got paid, shoddy job got paid, and you got nothing. But we have $1 billion. You need to be contacting your commissioner. You need to be contacting your county judge and saying, I want this money allocated for us. We deserve that. It's $1 billion sitting there. Commissioner has estimated $10 million for water system upgrades across the county. And that is a recognized need that we all need, right? We need water security. We're Midland County. We've got everybody pulling from our water. Getting a portion of that water that we provide, a good amount of tax dollars, a very good amount of tax dollars from our community go right down to Austin. We deserve to have part of that back. And if our people aren't out there lobbying for us, then we need to go lobby ourselves.
May I add something?
Yes.
This will be for the camera, the mic, but the other sort of political-ish solution, there's the $42 million, or maybe I have the number wrong, but the money being allocated for a walking trail somewhere near the interstate. as well as all the money being allocated to the jail project and also water to those projects. At least for the walking trail, that money, there could be some political pressure put forth to move that money to this project where it should be prioritized, because this is both illegal things happening and a health situation.
That's correct.
My name is Kyle Cramblett. I work for the John Birch Society. I helped some of these friends here with the recent elections as far as the Midland College bond, and I kind of just I help advise where necessary. Let's say politically. Very much so. Yeah, the foundation of the Birch Society is to be an effective activist at restoring constitutional government. You must understand how the government is supposed to work. So we try to teach people that sort of thing, and then teach them how to restore their government, be it local or whatever.
How do you think that any of this is a retaliation from not passing and not voting for the bond for the water push?
Well, it was happening before the bond, but I don't know enough about Terry Johnson and his plans as an elected person. But on the other bond, some of the people elected to the college board, I could kind of tell that bond, that was like their primary reason for running, was to get that thing, at least from my perspective, in my opinion. So a lot of times these projects, because they are so lucrative for development, just like a school bond, you never notice with a school bond, teachers never get a raise. It's because the school bond's there for development purposes. So as far as retaliation or whatever, it's certainly a motivator. Even if you disagree, I know this isn't happening because we didn't pass the bond, you might just give up and feel demoralized and say, even though it's not true, I'll vote for the damn thing anyway. That kind of seems like the play here. To me, it's political suicide. I mean, for an elected person, it's terrible. I mean,
no bond. Y'all didn't want the bond, so now you don't get the water, something like that.
I don't know what Terry Johnson posted because he blocked me after 3 comments in less than 8 hours.
A couple days back, that's what he said.
Yeah. I mean, he literally.
He specifically said no bond, no go.
I think I received your screenshot. Thank you, sister. Keep sending them. He's been very mouthy on his page, and this is not a time that it's who has the better comeback, because I guarantee you, my husband will tell you I'm quick with my mouth. I am a very quick-winded, and that's why I got blocked. I have no time for Terry Johnson. He has had no time for you as his constituents, whether you voted for him or you didn't vote for him. Every bit of this falls into his courts, and he can pass the ball and drop the ball all he wants. November comes, and we have an election, and we have another candidate who's running. We will find more about that candidate, and I promise we will be getting you guys in touch with that candidate, because anything is better than somebody who sits and name calls, nitpicks. I was called a carpetbagger. Do y'all know what that term is? Anybody?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it began because the Republicans from the North came down to protect the black slaves that were
During the
freed in
Civil
South.
War. I had to get a history lesson on it.
Civil War
It's because of what the luggage they showed up with was like.
was made of carpet.
Was made of carpet. So you're considered an outsider. You're considered, guys, I am a Midlander. I was born and raised in Midland County. My passion is Midland. I love Midland. I love Midland County. This is home to me. Always has been, always will be. I am not here because I get paid. Mino's not here because he gets paid. Stan's not here because he gets paid. We don't get a single dime off of this. Our job is to get your voice out, because you just literally shut down every corner that you've turned around and asked for help. And that's not okay. And this is how we make a difference, is we band together, just like our little bitty grassroots media company. We band together as citizens and say, we're not taking it anymore. We, the people, step up to our rights. And water should be a commodity that each one of you feel comfortable and safe with drinking.
The subdivision agreement on the county page says they'll do it.
It does. That is correct. So we're really, I mean, I just say tune into K-Well tomorrow, because evidently my dad called me and said Terry Johnson had posted some more stuff about what they could get into, and You know, it's becoming so one-sided, and they think that they're snowballing everybody. But if you have, I mean, y'all have all got kids, so you're all at the school, you have friends, reach out to them and see if they're having issues. Because I promise you, it's not just contained here in Vander Ranch.
I'll tell you one that I ran across with a guy named John Evans. I don't know if y'all know him. He lives out here 5 miles from y'all. 2 years ago, he built a house, $600,000, 2.5 acres. His well was 25 gallons a minute. And I asked him, well, how's it doing today? He said, 2 gallons a minute. He's having to haul water. And so this water district, what they're doing is they're tapping into your aquifer. They won't let you drill a well, but they're tapping into y'all's aquifer and they're reselling it to you. That's what they're wanting to do. And like I said, his well went from 25 gallons a minute to 2 gallons a minute. He said, I have to take a military bath, pee in the backyard.
Rick, do you have an update? Yeah, what's
Will you give me an update? Like I said, we worked in the shadows for a long time and realized that didn't work. And so we went to the news media to try to get some news media done and got shut down. And Nino steps in and says he'll help. And then comes Shandy. And they helped. They've got our word out. You may not always like their methods, but it damn well worked. Today, Tom Craddock called us. And indicates he's going to start putting some pressure on Austin and TCEQ to see what we can get worked out here.
Y'all heard the fluker yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Keep cool.
I can say something,
But
Rick.
I'm going to ask everybody to flood Tom Craddock's office tomorrow with a phone call. I've got his phone number if y'all want to write it down.
Can you post all of that?
I'll post it if you want.
Every number that we need to contact?
Yeah, just flood his office saying, hey, I live out here. We've got these problems. Please do something to help us.
Because that
You
was
don't
the
have to be
remark.
mean to the man, and you're not going to talk to him anyway. But
And
don't be
that-
mean to the people at
that
the
was
office. But
remark
that's
he
all it
made,
is.
Is this only 4 or 5 people that we're talking about? I don't know if
That's
y'all.
what Terry Johnson.
That's what Terry Johnson
Right.
said.
That
And
it's only
I
4
don't know about
people.
y'all, but if y'all hadn't seen that recent poll, it's 250 people. Only 13 people are claiming to not be affected by that issue. I guarantee you those 13 people have their house up for sale and they don't want this negativity. And I get it. As a homeowner, I understand. But our job is to move forward. We've got a lot of things I don't want to talk about on camera.
Anyway, talking about our house, my goal is to see it fixed. Okay? My goal is to get my house value back up to where it was. That's my goal. That's what I want. My goal is to make sure my kids or my grandkids, I do have kids, but they're a little old now. But that they're my grandkids that go out here and play, and I don't have to worry about them getting sick because somebody else contaminated them. Today, like I said earlier, Ryan Slocum and her name's Crystal, I can't remember what her last name was, his supervisor with TCEQ called and said, Austin. I'm going to post the number for Austin's TCEQ. Call them up tomorrow and raise hell with them. Or call them up this week. I don't care when you call them, just call them. Just to say, hey, it's not one person, it's not 2 people.
No, it's not
We're
just
going
4
to get to
people
Terry
out here.
Johnson.
We can't even waste our breath on
And-
that right now. We've got to stay low
Yeah.
and directed because Terry isn't going to help.
For those that don't know, I am an attorney. Okay, I do not handle environmental law and I don't do civil law. I handle criminal law, so if you get in trouble, you'd call me. But I've learned more about water and civil and everything else law out here than I ever wanted to know in my whole damn life. And it could probably make money now if I wanted to go after it. But anyway, been calling law firms, trying to get law firms to step in and help us. If we can get a law firm on board in a class action lawsuit, that means everybody out here is willing to step up and say, hey, I'll sign on. Class action lawsuit's not going to cost you anything. It's a contingency lawsuit. I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to make much from a class action lawsuit. Anybody that's ever gotten checks for $25 because they took your Experian, got your stuff taken.
The equity back into our home.
Yes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, we want the equity back in our home.
They're
Yeah.
worried about you making money. I commented back on that about how all you're doing this for is so you can make some money. And I'm like, if you use your time and resources and you make a few dollars, so be it. If our equity goes back up, that's what the main goal is.
We
Yeah.
all make
You
money.
make money at the end.
Yeah.
It just looks different.
Yeah. Anyway, we've got a couple that have finally bit. It's gonna have to be a law firm that's got a big war chest. I'm going to tell you that right now.
What we're
A
experiencing is
small firm
multiple-
here in Midland can't afford it.
Nope.
Money-hungry guys from Dallas that are young, eager, that see the potential of
Or
this.
San Antonio.
Or
San
San Antonio.
Dallas, maybe even Houston, maybe even California. Miss Brockovich, she's not an attorney, by the way, if y'all don't know that. She is not. She's not an attorney.
She's just an advocate like me and Nina.
But we've got some bites, and we're talking to them. If that comes through, you will hear me yell to the loudest in the world, and I will tell everybody out here, and we'll start getting signatures. Okay?
So we also have this going out on media. There's a radio station that you guys need to be calling in and saying, what is the situation? And that's KCRS.
Oh, yeah.
They aired our story. They picked it up. They're writing articles that were submitted and put on Tom Craddock's office, Governor Abbott's office, all the way up. But we're not stopping just here in Austin. We're sending it to every news outlet, and we're hoping that Donald Trump, we have the connections there, we're hoping that Donald Trump gets this message and comes and sees you guys, because y'all deserve it. Because if we know if anybody can get something done in this country right now, it's that man. In a short amount of period of time. So we're really hoping that we get all the right eyes. God puts every eye that needs to be on this. Every mouth that needs to be mouthing and being the vocal cords for you guys is being the vocal cords. Because this is further than anyone else. And I can tell you from my experience calling all the attorneys' offices, they're like, oh, this is too much for us. Like this is a lot of manpower. Let me get back with you, but y'all come and talk with me afterwards.
What would it take to get this on national news?
Oh, we're working on that. It's just that God opens the right eyes, the right ears at the very time that we need it. And that is where our hope is to be
Is there anything we can do about people that actually have pictures of rashes and like
Post them.
people that are
If you'll
pregnant and
post
are
them,
getting sick? We were sick for about 3 weeks, and I have pictures of the rash that I had in my chest and everything. So is there anything we can do to, provide that?
Document everything.
Document everything.
How long ago did you experience your rashes?
It was. I still have a whole bunch of, and it's been for a month already.
Okay.
So
Have a note and a documented
Okay,
something.
Christy.
Yes.
Christy what?
Ogle.
Okay.
Midland
Go-
Dermatology.
She is your
Wow.
Vander Ranch resident. Get in with her. Because if we can have a doctor diagnose this as the chemical burn that it is, I mean, we already know what it is.
I already
It's
know.
very easy to see that chemical burn. And everything that they're putting in the water, your skin is your largest organ. It absorbs everything you put on it, from lotions, the atmosphere we have in Midland, Texas. We are one of the most toxic atmospheres. And if you add water onto that, you got a deadly combination right now. And your body can't detox off of it.
Can I say something? I called the radio station, what is it, WKEL?
Yeah.
Oh.
yeah, a KWEL.
Yeah, so I called them and asked them if Rick and I could come on tomorrow, and they said yes, but they said Nino was not allowed. Yeah, Craig,
Surprising.
Craig, the station manager said.
Craig Slanderson, yeah.
Yeah, but he's not. Okay, let me just explain something to you. And I'm not going to sit here and bash K-Well. But K-Well is
Tell the truth, yeah.
K-Well has a radio station in the morning, and it's Craig Anderson, okay? Craig Anderson owns the damn radio station. I called in as the hillbilly Denise that's lived in Greenwood for 27 years, and they actually, for once, let me talk. I talked for 9 minutes, but the moment I disagreed with anything about Terry Johnson is not a liked person on social media, I was immediately shut down, and they just hang up the phone. I'm gone.
Well, today and the other couple of days, he's been going on there bashing even the citizens of Vander. It's like he makes y'all, like, it's saying y'all's fault. Y'all moved out here, you know.
Moved out here. This is your fault. You should have known better. Everybody's always known Greenwood didn't have water.
Like saying it's the fish's fault because there's a worm on the hook.
Also, it's our fault. We're watering our yards and washing our cars.
We need to speak on that. It's not emergent.
Okay. So I'm gonna be as frank. As far as the E. coli, we're kind of in the coliform. We're kind of in a sticky situation with that. But there is a company called Organic Jaguar, and they make these shower filters, and it will pull all the chlorine, the arsenic, the heavy metals out. You're just gonna have to change your filter more often. It is for a treated water facility, but these shower filters run you about, you can get 2 of them for about $120. Filters and stuff, you know, they're going to be about 30. It's going to be an expense. Keep your receipts. Literally, physically keep your receipts. Take a picture of them, put them in your phone. Make sure you have backup documentation, not just paper documentation. But that is going to filter out quite a bit in your showers because, and unfortunately, if you have small kids, don't bathe them. I'm not kidding. Teach them to use the shower early on because there's not really they have they're buckets, but that water's splashing out. And little kids in a bathtub tend to drink the water. They just do. And that's not something you want them ingesting ever.
Yeah, they're not that good.
Yeah, so Organic Jaguar, he is a reputable company. He is all about clean. And he's absolutely amazing. It's a mom and pop shop. Guys, flood him in with orders. That is one of my absolute favorite. I have it on my RV. I have his filters everywhere and anywhere. I truly trust him, and I've done my research on that. I promise you that.
So besides the water issue, is there anything that we found out about HOA as far as like where our money's going? If, you know,
I'm fixing to answer you.
They were out everybody today while the rentals have 5-foot tall weeds. So I mean,
I stopped her and had a nice little conversation.
oh yeah, I want to hear about it.
Yeah.
Is her name Maria?
That would all be
No, her name
part
is Izzy.
of
Okay,
the suit.
And
And to
she
answer
was
your
going
question,
to cite us for, we
I
have
don't
a
have absolute proof,
side by
but I
side,
do know why
and it was
DR
sitting
Harton
in the
left.
driveway. My car was in the garage because of the storm last
Yeah.
night,
Yeah,
and I was
they
going
can
out
go
to
back
move
and
my
pull it,
car
but
out.
it's
She was
gonna have
about
to
to
come
cite
through the
me
suit to be able to
because
get to it.
the
But I
Ranger
do
was in the
know why
driveway.
DR
And I said, I
Horton
can't have a Ranger in the
And I
driveway. She
actually
said, you
pursued
can't own
DR
that,
Horton.
period. I said, well, you can't tell
As
me
an
what I can
individual,
own.
you have to do
She
it
said,
through
these are county
mediation,
roads, and you
and
can't legally
mediation
drive
gets
that.
real
I said, no, you're not
expensive,
DPS.
and you don't
can't
get
tell me what I
much.
can drive,
So,
and you can't tell me what I can own. And so she said, well,
Trey?
I can't see it.
Trey's
If I see it, then I'm
Trey's
going
a
to
flat
search.
liar.
And I said, that's not how this works. I can have things. And so we had a conversation on a lot of things.
and they wouldn't finish the sewer plant. It's a sewer
I
plant.
have Rachel Durie's number. She is her manager. I've been told, though, she doesn't answer her phone calls or emails.
Let's talk real minute about the PUC, Public Utility Commission. Everybody knows they've made application to raise our water rates out here. If you don't know that, you need to know that. Public Utility Commission has thrown us under the bus. They're recommending 3 rate increases over the next 3 years. The rate increase that would go into effect this year is $100 per month for the basic rate. Next year is $80. The following year is $60.
What's it out right now, Rick?
To 197. So we're talking doubling our base rates before you ever flush a toilet or you ever turn on the water.
Is everybody's water bill around $250 a month here?
Yes.
Can you repeat when that's happening?
It's crap water. Yes.
Rick, is that in place or is that coming up?
That hearing is actually next week. Well, it's in Austin if you want to go. If you want to go, I'll try to get there. I don't know
Live
where it's
on
held at, but it's
YouTube.
in Austin. I'm going to post the where you can watch it. And if you live in Vander Ranch, you can make an application at the hearing to intervene to be able to talk. Your problem at the hearing is they don't want to hear just that we're having problems. You got to have how these problems are causing your rate increase to go up. It's not that hard to figure out. I mean, they're wanting to increase our rates so they can build on their system, so they can build more houses out here that they've already doing this stuff to. It's
Rick, do you know how many homes they're reporting that they're providing services to
last I checked, over 800
on the PUC website?
on the PUC website. That their actual rate increase is only based on 230 something homes. So they're saying we need all this money, this 200 something dollars per month, the 200 something, although they've increased the number of homes by 500. That's something that's got to be brought up, because they're talking, this is an astronomical raise for these guys down the street, and that's all they want is your money. And I'll post that up here in a minute.
I've got a potential solution.
What?
Have y'all gone around and collected signed affidavits on what you've experienced?
Not yet.
It's good to have that. Media-wise, we can collect a stack of 50 affidavits and then send that out to the media with the press releases. That holds a lot more weight. I just recently was involved with something where I got a couple affidavits and got the state to investigate something, and it wasn't very hard at all. But when you have sworn testimony, that it just tends to carry a lot more weight. You know, it's an under oath sort of deal. And with that, you can deliver pictures and all that stuff too. I just think that would make it more likely that Austin American Statesman or some outfit like that would run it. If we could have one leader who would be willing to go, you know, collect names, collect phone numbers, send out reminders, and then go collect the affidavits, I think that would be something that might be helpful. Maybe not, but it's something.
Well,
It's just a form you can print out online and go get emails.
That's it. Yes, for
yeah,
beer.
yeah, you can print it off.
And we have a notary. See, this is networking. This is community. This is what
Yeah.
Greenwood is always about.
Who's a notary? Nice. Where do you live?
Can we post the form?
Sure.
Sure.
Maybe.
Yeah, we can post everything.
Yeah, we'll make it.
These guys are watching. If y'all don't know, these guys got access to our Facebook pages. I mean, they're reading the Facebook pages. They know.
Yeah,
We put, if y'all notice it, we put signs on all the poles out here about the meeting. 2 days later, all the signs were gone. Did y'all notice that? Yeah. Okay. Huh?
I mean,
So,
is it
so they tried to,
ridiculous
so
that
they
you
tried to
guys are
say,
getting a
but
$50 maintenance
they went out
fee?
there and pulled them all down.
You have no water. You got your water shut off last night. Who here is getting notices about the water shut off last night? Who received notices?
Just
I
2
got-
hours prior.
2 hours prior.
Yeah, about 2 hours prior.
Okay. Did y'all receive a notice? Did you receive a notice?
Yes.
You did? Okay.
It's inconsistent. We
Yes.
were
Oh,
getting
yeah.
text messages, then we only got emails. So the only way you really know is if you check your email every 5 seconds, which obviously I can do with a job and 3 kids, right?
Right, yeah.
No one can.
Yeah.
Right.
So sometimes you get the notification after you were already supposed to be boiling your water, or after the water is already shut off, and you're like, what's happening?
Like,
So that's
Rusty
what-
over here was running his dishwasher when the water shut off, and now he's replacing the dishwasher.
Exactly.
I've done burned up a dishwasher. I gotta go buy one.
Yeah.
All right, but let's go back, talk about the rate increase real quick. There is a group, a state agency that can help us in helping reduce the rate. It's called the Texas Public Utility Council. I will post their phone number. Everybody needs to get on the phone and call them tomorrow. They're protesting on our behalf, but they don't have anybody. They've got 1 or 2 people that have called in and talked to them about it. Everybody needs to call them. They're the professionals in how to handle the rate increases. They can present our side, how this rate increase is absolutely ridiculous with what they're doing out here. So I'll post the phone number so you can call them tomorrow.
Even if we call, they don't do much about it.
But it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I don't
Doesn't
even
matter.
know
It's documented. Everything you
That's what I
call.
was gonna say. They said they were gonna send me an email. I never received
You never
it.
got one. Yeah, they told me they
Follow up.
follow up.
Always
We'll
follow
follow up. But that's who's working on it. You know, I'm amazed. I really thought there'd only be about 10 people show up tonight. I really did.
I'm baffled there's not more.
I'm sad that there's not more. I'm really sad there's not more. But I'm happy all of y'all showed up because I really wasn't expecting that.
Well, and hopefully everybody that's here will call.
Yeah, yeah.
It's gonna
And
take
if
more than this
you got neighbors or you got somebody, talk to them about it and start
That's why I said
talking.
reach out to your Greenwood friends.
Let's talk about the HOA for just a minute.
friends just want to say, well, you're in Vander and you should have bought there. It's not our problem.
Can I say something about that?
Yeah.
So
No, we don't hate you.
We're just renting.
No.
But we moved here from out of state. So, one, those claiming we should have known better, or we should have known.
Well, if they don't tell you, there's no way for you to find out.
We didn't know that there were dust tornadoes, okay? Like,
Bless your heart.
okay,
We have
so
boobs. I'm so sorry.
we're from Missouri. You can drink water from the faucet. Like, it's
From most of the creeks.
we didn't know that you couldn't drink water from the faucet for the first month that we lived here because, okay, let's talk about this. One, the people that rented us our house said our water was safe to drink. It was safe for consumption and safe to use. And now my kids are getting rashes. Are you kidding? That's the first thing. The second thing is that we get our water through PBWR, and if you look on their website, unless they've taken it down,
They have not.
since
I looked it up
called
today.
them about it, it says we will have water. You don't have to worry about shutoffs with us. Your water is safe to drink. So as someone coming from out of state, how was I supposed to know better? So all of those people making claims, you live here, you should have known Greenwood is just that way. That's not a real thing. And then also, we're building a brand new school where you may not be affected now, but your school is right there. You can literally see it from where we're standing. So what's going to happen? Are they going to have their own water source that isn't affected at all by any of this? It's within walking distance.
They're going to try to hit it up, and that was their expectation. And then less than 2 miles from that, you have a jut. You have a jail that is going to be receiving water as well.
Correct.
If you don't think that's already going to tax the already taxed water system, watch your water run dry and there be no shut off.
Overload the system and they get them to beg.
Mm-hmm.
One more thing, when we all bought in here, originally when you bought in here, they had a sign up there that said it was city water and sewer.
Yeah, yeah. It said,
website, it actually says that we have city sewer.
yeah, yeah.
Terry Johnson said that it's coming from the city to the jail and school. I mean, he said that on K-Well. Is that the truth? I'd like to know the answer to that.
Me too.
Why can't we have water
There
if
is
they have
actually,
water?
just to talk about possible solutions if they ever get around to it, without having, we can do away with the sewer plant down here. There's actually a sewer line from the city that runs all the way to the schools down here on 307. It's right down 307. The new jail they're building, their sewer is going to go to that line. Where MCUD's wanting to build their new water treatment plant, the RO water out of that water treatment plant, the 3 out of the 4 gallons, it's going into that line. The school here goes into that line. The schools down the road goes into that line. We're talking what, half mile, maybe up there, that we could go into line 2, and we can get rid of the sewer plant. Water, MCUD is going to build a line that goes here, comes right down in there. It's going to go right in front of Vander Ranch. It's going to go right to this school. There's no reason we couldn't tap into that line too. So there's solutions, and it's not, we don't need the 20, 30, 40, 50 million dollars. We're talking maybe $500,000-$600,000, and we could get it done.
I'm pretty sure plenty of you residents would dig the line yourself. On Permian Basin Water Resources, it was still there today when I was speaking to some people. It says no more trucking, wells, softeners, or RO systems. Say goodbye to the hassle of ensuring you have water that is safe to use and consume. With an already built infrastructure, we're the most reliable means of water distribution in Greenwood. With advanced systems in place, you can trust that your water will always be on. Lies. It is black and white. It is on their website. They could change it now. We've already screenshotted it. Last night, the water wasn't on. Just in case Rick didn't touch, the guy who owns the land owns the HOA.
Yeah, that's
The
where I
guy
was
who
coming.
owns the HOA owns the water. And the guy who owns the water owns the sewer. So who owns all of this?
It's Trevor Hill.
Trevor Hill.
I was told today that it wasn't Nick.
No,
The HOA lady told me it wasn't Nick, it was his boss.
his dad. His dad.
And she ropes with him, and she's in his ear all the time and doesn't agree with what he does, and he knows it. But she wouldn't give me any contact, of course. She said she couldn't
No,
release
she
that.
won't. It took us.
But she told
If
me
y'all don't know,
that
a group
we're
of it,
right up here
I
in
think I
this
said it a
little
while ago,
building,
we filed lawsuit against
and
the
that
HOA.
we could visit that.
We'd love to get control of the HOA, whether that happens or not, I don't know. This trial for the HOA is not even set till March of next year.
Take notes.
We know that your money from the HOA, the $40 a month, is supposed to pay for this mowing the grass right here, okay? To keep up the flags that they don't fly. The pool, except the pool is still under developer control. It doesn't belong to the HOA yet, but they're supposed to keep it clean. Can you imagine what it's going to cost to clean this damn thing? And keep it clean? I don't think there's any way you could ever keep it clean.
It's been open May 16th.
Well, then they moved it to 29th now.
Yeah, then they moved it to the end of June.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway.
There's nothing we can do to pursue that, to like take over our HOAs so the community.
I'm still talking with our attorney to see if we can do something a little faster and to see if we can get a temporary restraining order or something to that effect to get control of it. They're not going to want to give it up because if we get control of the HOA, we got power and they don't want us to have any power. Yeah, they should have control. Yeah, yeah. They know if we get power, they're in trouble because we can take care of the sewer plant, we can take care of the water, we can take care of it all.
It was just like a short-term thing for individual people like I'm renting to.
Yeah.
You know, and one of their selling points for me moving me and my kids here because I was living in an apartment there in Midland at the reserve, and the water there was just crap. You could see the
nastiness in it. Yeah.
And you know that was one of the reasons why I moved here. And would a reverse osmosis filtration system do anything to help?
Like I said, their system is supposed to be reverse osmosis. I'm assuming it is reverse osmosis.
Their website.
If you put it on your own, I mean,
I'm talking about like for the individual homes. You can
yeah, it would take out the bad stuff out of the water. Now then, as far yeah.
They'll tell you it's a year change, and we're changing every 4 months.
Yeah, it gets expensive.
You probably need to be changing more than that.
Probably.
But at the same time, that RO system, it costs you money.
Yeah, does anybody have a proposed solution? And by the way, I want to just make a statement. He was talking about he lived in an apartment in Midland was, you know, it's crappy water. We don't hide our crappy water. We give it to you in glass and they're like, don't drink that. Here's some bottled water. Like, we're not, in the city, we don't hide that we have crappy water. It's a very well-known fact. Now, what is the solution? Does anybody have any thoughts? I mean, surely you guys have been pondering on this issue.
How about we stop building homes that we're going to supply water?
Well, we have a hard time doing that.
All right, now then we can talk about Terry Johnson.
Wait. Before we do that, let me touch base. They're not going to stop building homes because, Rick, what was the number for HOA to come back?
80 for us to take over the HOA right now. Whenever they started building out here, it was 85% of the homes. It was 275 homes. They crossed that a long time ago. So they keep building so they can control the HOA. That's why they're keeping building. And it's money. They're going to make money off these houses.
Keep adding just to keep the HOA out of y'all's hands. There will always be some sort of umbrella over you in Vander Ranch. This is a monopoly and we don't want this. We also want to stand up and make sure that other subdivisions and communities don't experience this, because when you have one guy in control, who are you going to complain to? It's kind of like K-Well. They have one guy in control, and that person is who we have the complaint with. It's going nowhere. So on to Terry Johnson.
Anyway, Terry Johnson, county judge. I started calling Terry Johnson 2 years ago when the sewer deal started. If you heard him on TV, he keeps saying it's the same poor people that called back in the sewer and it's the same deal. Bullshit. I mean, I've been sending him, we send all kinds of pictures and all the way up through last week. He knows that. I can't prove that he's in their back pocket, but I can sure think it, okay? He's told me the county can't do anything. The county is who approves the plats to build these property out here. To build that property, they have to do what's called a CNN. They get a letter from Park Water that says we're going to supply water to these people out here. They're accepting that, no questions asked, and they're approving it. I asked him to rescind the plats for these properties, which can be done. All you got to do, you can rescind the plats. I asked him to rescind the plats and we're not going to do that. It's a business. It would hurt their business. That's why I said he's in their pocket. He filed put a bunch of stuff out there and started attacking us. I never met them. I mean, I know the man, I know who he is, but I never talked to him because he wouldn't talk to me. And started attacking us, and I thought, well, that piece of crap. So we asked to call him. He called us, okay? We explained everything to him. The next day he's on the radio saying the same thing, and then we're calling them carpetbaggers and calling us, I don't remember what he called us, but basically, I just huh?
These are old problems.
These are all old problems, no problems. There's the old problems. It's all this, it's all this.
Pictures, they're outdated.
I'm going to post his phone number, and everybody tomorrow call the county commissioner. You'll never talk to him, but his secretary will get damn sure taking y'all's phone calls. He went on radio and talked all this crap about all this other stuff. We're going to go on radio tomorrow and try and show where he's lying. Jeff Summers is the county commissioner out here. You notice he's been real quiet. He hasn't said anything.
He's busy trying to sell his land.
He owns property out here, and he has asked Park Water to supply water to that property is what he's done. So he's being very quiet. He knows it's outside the CCNs. It's outside of their area that they can provide water to. They don't care anyway. They're going to go do it because their theory is, we build it, what are you going to do about it now, is what they're doing.
Want his personal number?
Yes, Stacy, we would love for you to post.
He won't return a phone call.
432-664-7764.
Easy enough to memorize.
Here's something to know else about Jeff Summers. When they went to graveling the roads and stuff out here, there was an individual who put in a bid to supply the caliche and supply water from his water well. Jeff Summers went out, bought property with a caliche pit, put it in his wife's name, and guess who's supplying that water and who's supplying that caliche now? It's in the wife's name.
You see a lot of that in politics, and the wife will even use her maiden name so that you don't realize that they're married.
So anyway.
Sarah Harris.
But the good news is we have someone new that is going to be coming up for election to replace Terry Johnson. Woo!
So we have Jay Marquez.
Yeah.
He's going to be running against Terry Johnson.
And guess who's been in contact with us?
He's right there.
Good.
Where?
You need to express your concerns. Jay, would you like to speak?
Hey, I'm here just to identify even more, evaluate, and then we're going to execute.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you for coming.
All right.
So this is what we need is we need a county judge who's going to be showing up at your little grassroots get together and saying, what is the problems? I need to hear all parties, and then I need to take a step back and I need to look at this and see what is the most valuable solution that is going to benefit each and every one of you. Because the people that are sitting over in Pecan Grove have a completely different issue. People at Cheney Ranch, people out 2 miles from Greenwood, all of their issues are all going to be, there's a lot of fires right now, y'all. I hope each one of y'all realize this was not something that Nino, myself, or Stan ever realized we were going to be enthralled into. It's a tunnel. It is dark, and there are so many different doors we are going in. We're kind of getting our bearings now. We've got things rocking and rolling. We have people in place that are helping get this word out to the right people, because this can never happen again in Midland County, ever.
I just want it fixed.
It
Yeah.
has to, it
Like I
has
said,
to be fixed.
bottom line, I want it fixed. I think everybody wants it fixed, because that's the only way you can get your values in your house back, is it gets fixed. Trying to move out, and our house is for sale because I've actually wanted to open an office in Abilene, and I've said I've had 5 viewings in 6 months. It's not going to sell. I already know that. Then the devaluation of the house. I mean, we're talking 70, 80, 90. I could say 100% devaluation because you can't sell it, so it's not worth anything if you can't sell it. But until that's fixed, we're all in the same boat. Everybody's in the same boat.
It's more so scary for how it affects the kids and families.
Yeah, and like I said, and then
But just the human decency of saying, hey, this ain't right.
yeah,
Absolutely. You know, and I'm going to touch a little bit on, we have all these rental properties here. Something that we found incredibly interesting is some of these rental properties are not paying taxes. They're not paying Midland County taxes. They're not paying anything because they went from the developer and they changed hands to, what was it, Hikanuva?
yeah, Hikanuva.
Hikanuva Alpha. And Hikanuva Alpha, we've done our research. Ashley, where's Hikanuva Alpha from?
California.
Somewhere out in Cali.
Not
okay.
here.
But it's because it's still showing under a developer, it's acting as though there's not a structure on there. These people around here on 111 have been living in the homes for 3 to 6 months. No, I'm sorry, 3 months over on 111. These guys back here have been almost 6 months. They're not paying taxes. So the person who owns it, they're getting everything coming to them. Like